20. Modals. Modals, also called modal verbs, modal auxiliary verbs, modal auxiliaries, are special verbs which behave irregularly in English. They are different from normal verbs like work, play, visit. Quote. They give additional information about the function of the main verb that follows it. They have a great variety of communicative functions. Here are some characteristics of modal verbs. They never change their form. You can't add s, ad, ing, etc. They are always followed by an infinitive without to, a, I, the bare infinitive. They are used to indicate modality, allow speakers to express certainty, possibility, willingness, obligation, necessity, ability. List of modal verbs: can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, must. The verbs or expressions dare, ought to, had better, and need not behave like modal auxiliaries to a large extent and may be added to the above list. Use of modal verbs. Modal verbs are used to express functions such as permission, ability, obligation, prohibition, lack of necessity, advice, possibility, probability, probability. First, they can be used when we want to say how sure we are that something happened, is happening, will happen. We often call these modals of deduction, or speculation, or certainty or probability. For example, it's snowing, so it must be very cold outside. I don't know where John is. He could have missed the train. This bill can't be right. Rupees 200 for 2 cups of coffee. Ability. We use can and could to talk about a skill or ability. For example, she can speak 6 languages. My grandfather could play golf very well. I can't drive. Obligation and advice. We can use verbs such as must or should to say when something is necessary or unnecessary, or to give advice. For example, children must do their homework. We have to wear a uniform at work. You should stop smoking. Permission. We can use verbs such as can, could, and may to ask for and give permission. We also use modal verbs to say something is not allowed. For example, could I leave early today, please? You may not use the car tonight. Can we swim in the lake? Habits. We can use will and would to talk about habits or things we usually do, or did in the past. For example, when I lived in Italy, we would often eat in the restaurant next to my flat. John will always be late. Here is a list of modals with examples. Modal verb. Expressing. Example. Must. Strong obligation. You must stop when the traffic lights turn red. Logical conclusion. Certainty. He must be very tired. He's been working all day long. Must not. Prohibition. You must not smoke in the hospital. Can. Ability. I can swim. Permission. Can I use your phone please? Possibility. Smoking can cause cancer. Could. Ability in the past. When I was younger, I could run fast. Polite permission. Excuse me, could I just say something? Possibility. It could rain tomorrow. May. Permission. May I use your phone please? Possibility. Probability. It may rain tomorrow. Might. Polite permission. Might I suggest an idea? Possibility. Probability. I might go on holiday to Australia next year. Need not. Lack of necessity. Absence of obligation. I need not buy tomatoes. There are plenty of tomatoes in the fridge. Should, ought to. 50% obligation. I should ought to see a doctor. I have a terrible headache. Advice. You should, ought to revise your lessons. Logical conclusion. He should, ought to be very tired. He's been working all day long. Had better. Advice. You, better revise your lessons.